Hello there, welcome to this tutorial on Matplotlib and data visualization in Python. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the basics of visualizing data using one of the most popular Python libraries out there, Matplotlib. And something important that I'll be discussing, which is often neglected while learning Matplotlib, is how to choose the right type of graph based on the kind of data you have. Not just that, we will also see how to read these plots and make sense out of them. But before we jump into it, let's take a moment to understand what data visualization actually means and why it matters. Data visualization is all about turning raw data into visuals using things like charts, graphs, or maps. These visuals help us quickly see patterns, spot anything unusual, and just get a better sense of what the data is telling us. Here's a quick example. Let's say you have a list of sales numbers for each month of the year. Sure, you could look at those numbers one by one, but if you plot them on a line chart, you'll instantly see how sales went up or down over time. That's the beauty of data visualization. It helps make data clear, simple, and easy to understand. Now coming back to Matplotlib, this is a Python library built specifically for creating visualizations. It's been around for a long time and is widely used in areas like data science, research engineering, statistics, and business management. What makes Matplotlib so powerful is its flexibility. You can create all kinds of plots like line charts, bar graphs, scatter plots, histograms, pie charts, and even 3D plots. And the best part is you can fully customize how your plots look, from colors and styles to labels, titles, and legends. When it comes to using Matplotlib, there are two main ways to make your plots. The first one is through something called the PyPlot API. This is the simpler and more commonly used method. You just import it using import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT and then use functions like plt.plot or plt.bar to make your charts. The second way is through the object-oriented API. This one gives you more control and is better suited for complex or customized visualizations, especially when you're building something that needs to be more advanced or integrated into an application. In this tutorial, we are going to explore both methods using easy examples. So go ahead and open your Jupyter Notebook or Google Colab and let's get started with Matplotlib and the world of data visualization. So before we get started with the implementation of Matplotlib, I want to quickly show you guys the anatomy of a Matplotlib figure. So a figure in Matplotlib is basically the entire window or page. It's basically the entire canvas that represents the various components like legends, your axes, the grids, your labels, everything, right? So all the components are contained inside a figure. So let us quickly go ahead and see what are these different components. So first we have the axis. So we have x-axis and the y-axis, and what these axes are representing is basically shown by the labels. So we have x-axis label and y-axis label. So say for example, I have the data of number of hours studied versus the marks scored. So I can represent my x-axis as the number of hours studied and I can label it as number of hours studied, and similarly I can do it for y-axis label as the marks scored. So I know what I am showing on my plot. Then there's something known as ticks. So we have major ticks and minor tick labels. So major tick labels are basically these marks that you can see on your axis. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are basically your major tick labels, and your minor tick labels are the in-between marks like 0.25, 0.5 and so on. And then we have something known as a legend. So this basically represents what each color or mark is representing. Right, so over here we have a blue line and a red line. So whatever these blue lines and red lines are representing, that can be shown in a legend. Then you have your grids. So these are the dotted lines that help you figure out or read your plots in a more efficient manner. Then you can also label your entire figure. So you can give a title to your figure using the title component. So that is pretty much it about a figure. So these are basically the major components inside your figure. As we go ahead, we will see how to tweak these different components according to how we want our figure to look like. Alright, so in order to get started, I want you guys to quickly open any terminal and just run the command pip install matplotlib. And once you run it, you will see a few lines of code run over here for you. And finally, when you get the message requirement satisfied, that means your library is installed successfully. Now, once your library is installed, you can go ahead and import it in any environment that you like. I'm using Google Colab. You can use VS Code or Jupyter Notebook, right? According to your preference. So I'm going to go ahead and import my matplotlib if I run it. So it's imported successfully. So along with my matplotlib, I'm also going to import pandas. And if I run it, so both my libraries are imported successfully. So just to give you guys a basic gist of what matplotlib does, I'm just going to create two variables for you guys. So I have my variable x as 1, 2, 3 and my variable y as 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so these are my x and y variables. Now, in order to plot these variables using matplotlib, all I have to do is say plt.plot, pass my variables x, y and just say plt.show. And as you can see over here, this is what matplotlib gives me. So over here, what matplotlib is trying to do is, it is trying to plot my data like this. So 1 comma 4, then I have 2 comma 5 and then I have 3 comma 6. Okay, so these are the variables that I passed and this is the data that matplotlib is trying to plot over here. Okay, so if you go ahead and see 1 comma 4, 2 comma 5 and 3 comma 6. So if I want those dotted grid lines that we initially discussed in our figure, all I have to do is say plt dot grid and run it. So now you can see I have my grid lines. Now it gets much easier to read my data in a more efficient manner. Now I can easily spot that this particular dot represents 2 comma 5 and this particular spot represents 1.75 comma 4.75. So now you're easily able to figure out what each of these points on this particular line represent. Right? So this is basically the major idea or the major implementation of matplotlib. Now using this functionality of matplotlib, we are going to try and plot different kind of plots for different data sets. So as we discussed earlier, matplotlib has two types of plotting. So one is using the pyplot API and one is using object-oriented API. So first we're going to cover the pyplot API. So let me just write it down that we are only going to discuss pyplot API right now. In the end of the video, I'm going to discuss how you can use object-oriented API as well. Okay. So in order to understand which particular plot is to be used for what kind of data, let me quickly introduce you guys to univariate analysis. So a univariate variable basically focuses on one variable at a time. It could be a height, weight, or a category like yes or no. Alright, so first we're going to cover the numerical column. So in order to understand, let me just create a data where I have a column salary and it looks something like this. Okay, so this is my salary column and this is just a dictionary and I have to convert it into a data frame. So I'm going to call my data set df and I'm going to say pd dot data frame and I'm simply going to pass my data. Now if I try and print the first 5 records of my data set, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so this is my salary column and these are my records. Let me also go ahead and check the total number of records in my data. So all I have to do is say df.shape and if I run it, so I have 20 records and I have only one column. So over here I have 20 comma 1. Alright. So now in order to visualize this particular column in my data frame, the first plot that I have is a line plot that we have already seen, but now we're going to see it in much more detail. So in order to plot a line plot, all I have to do is plt.plot and in my parentheses, I just have to pass my column inside my df variable, that is my data frame, like this. So if I run it, so this is basically how my salary column is varying. Okay, so at some point it is really high, that is the highest salary is going to 55,000, whereas the lowest salary is somewhere around 25,000. Okay, now what I can do is I can also go ahead and make some changes in my plot. Like I can say I want my color to be red and I want my grids to be shown, and I can also have my markers. So I can have my marker as letter O. Now what this marker is going to do is wherever I have a data point, it is going to be marked. So for example, over here, basically wherever I have a data point, it's going to be marked with the letter O. I can also go ahead and change the line width. Let me just run it. So as you can see, my color has been changed to red. I have grids in my plot and my marker is being represented with a dot over here, as you can see. Now instead of a straight line, I can change my line style to a dashed line like this. So now you can see my line is a dashed line, or I can also change it to a dot using the colon. So now you can see my line has been dotted. I can also go ahead and change the width of my line using the line width parameter, and I can say I want it to be 2. Okay, so as you can see, the width has been increased. So if in case I want my marker to be represented with a star, all I have to do is pass this particular symbol, and you can see the marker style has been changed. Okay, so you can go ahead and play around a little with the parameters that are available in Matplotlib. Again, Seaborn offers a bit more functionality compared to Matplotlib, but this is great when you want to deal with your plots at a lower level. Okay. Then the next way we can visualize our column is through a histogram. So in order to plot a histogram, all you have to do is say plt.hist and pass your column in the parenthesis. And for now, I'm going to exclude the bins parameter and just show you guys how the salary column is going to look like in a histogram. Alright, so histogram basically tells us the frequency of our data distribution. So what this graph is basically telling us is that there are around 3 people that have the salary in the range 25,000 to 30,000. Then 2 people have the salary in the range 30,000 to 35,000. And there are 3 people again in 35 to 40 range. Okay, so this is basically how our data is being distributed. Now, in order to make it more clear, I can go ahead and pass bins, and I'm going to, no, I don't want grids for this particular graph, and I'm going to say my color is going to be green. So now I have divided my plot in 5 bins. So now it's more clear and more readable. Okay, so I have 6 people earning 25,000, then 5 people earning 30,000, then 3 people earning 35,000, and so on. Okay, so this is how you can read your data through a histogram. Then the next plot that we have is a box plot. So in order to plot a box plot, all you have to do is say plt.boxplot and pass your column over here and simply say plt.show, and this is what your box plot is going to look like. Okay, so whoever is not clear with what a box plot is exactly, let us quickly understand it with the help of this image. So a box plot has 2 endpoints. One represents the minimum value and one represents the maximum value. Then there's a line that is connecting the minimum value to the lower quartile, and it's called the whisker. Now your lower quartile is known as Q1, which basically represents 25 percentile. So basically 25% of the data is below this particular point. Okay, then you have your mean value and your median. Median is also known as Q2 and it's the 50th percentile. This represents 50% of the data is below this particular point. Then you have Q3, which is 75 percentile. So 75% of the data is below this particular point, and then you have your maximum value. Okay, so Q1 to Q3 is known as your interquartile range. And then you have something known as outliers. Now, outliers are basically the extreme values that are either lower than the minimum value or greater than the maximum value. Okay, so these are basically the extreme values and they are plotted outside the box plot. So, box plot makes it very easier to identify whether there are any outliers in your data or not. Okay, so as we can see in this particular plot over here, there are no outliers currently. But if I were to add a salary, so at index 20, I'm basically adding a salary 0. Okay. Now, if I run it, now I go ahead and plot a box plot. You can see over here, I got an outlier value which is at 0. So this is the value I just inserted, as you can see over here, through df.loc. So we have already covered LOC and iloc in my previous video of Pandas full course. If you guys have not watched it or you guys do not understand how I have added a new record in my dataset, I suggest you guys to quickly go ahead and watch that video before you continue with this video, because we will be using Pandas somewhere or the other throughout this video. Alright. So as you can see, I've got my outlier value over here, which is really far away from my entire box plot. So it's suggesting that whatever range my other salaries are in, this particular salary does not match that range. Okay. So I can simply go ahead and remove this value from my dataset in order to avoid any bias in my entire calculation when I'm going ahead with prediction models and all. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this value. Okay, so I'm back to my original data set. Now this was all about when you have a single numerical column. Alright, so salary was something that contained all numerical values. But what if I had a column that had all categorical values? So now we're going to deal with a univariate categorical column. Okay. So in order to deal with the categorical column, let me just quickly go ahead and add another column to my data set called department. So now let me go ahead and check my data frame, what it looks like. So as you can see over here, I have a salary column and a department column, and my department column is a categorical column. I can also go ahead and check that using the info parameter. So you can see this is of type integer and this is of type object. So basically all of the data that I have in my department column is of type string. Alright, now if I want to visualize this particular column, I cannot use a line chart or a histogram or even a box plot because those are used for a numerical column. So in order to visualize this column, I'm going to use something known as a pie chart. Now in order to plot a pie chart, what I have to do is I have to create a count variable where I am simply going to count the number of unique values in my department. So this is what it's going to look like. So I have 8 HR departments, 6 IT and 6 finance departments. Okay. Now I can go ahead and plot this data in my pie chart using plt.py. Simply pass my count variable, and if I print plt.show, this is what it looks like. Now over here, I do not know what these different colors are representing. So in order to have that on my pie chart, all I have to do is say labels equal to count dot index, and if I print it now, you can see the green color represents my finance, blue represents HR, and orange represents IT. But again, another issue is I do not know the values of these sectors. So in order to get my values printed in my pie chart, all I have to do is say auto PCT and pass 1.1%, 1.1 F. So you can see I have 40% HR, 30% IT and 30% finance. Okay. So the format I've given over here basically represents that I want one decimal. If I were to pass 1.0, I would get only my integer parts over here. If I were to say 1.2, you can see I got 2 decimal values in each of my sectors. Okay. And another important parameter in pie chart is explode. So the explode feature basically helps us decide if we want to separate any particular section in our pie chart. So let me just show you guys. So I can simply say 0, 0.1 and 0. If I do that, so you can see IT, which is my second sector over here, has been separated from my entire pie chart by 0.1 distance. Okay, I can do that for 2 sectors at a time also. I can say I want this to be separated by 0.2, the last sector finance. So this is what my pie chart looks like now. Okay, now if you feel that your pie chart is not a complete circle, it's not a proper circle, you can quickly go ahead and say axis and pass equal in the parenthesis, and that will make your pie chart in a complete circle. Okay, so this was one way of visualizing a categorical column. The other one is known as count plot. So in order to do a count plot, all you have to do is say plt.bar and pass your count.index and count variable and simply say plt.show, and now you can see your different sectors represented as a bar chart. Okay, you can easily understand that HR has 8 values, basically 8 people working in HR, 6 people working in IT, and again 6 people working in finance. You can also go ahead and change the color of your bars. You can make it, so if I want different colors for different bars, so I can go ahead and say green, black, red. So you can see I have different colors for my different bars. Okay. So this was all about univariate analysis. That is when we had to deal with only one column. Either it was just a numerical column or just a categorical column. But what if we had 2 columns at a time? That brings us to our next type of analysis, that is bivariate analysis. And over here, we basically try to analyze the relationship between 2 features or 2 columns. So first we're going to look at 2 numerical columns. Okay. So right now, if I check my data set, I have one numerical column and one categorical column. right? So in order to perform numerical analysis, I should have another numerical column. So let me just go ahead and create a new column. I'm going to call it age. And okay, so this is my new column called age. And if I go ahead and check my data frame now, so you can see I have three columns. Two are numerical columns and one is a categorical column. All right. So now if I want to visualize salary and age column together, the first plot that I have is known as a scatter plot. So a scatter plot is basically going to help us analyze the direct relationship whether salary increases with age or not. Okay, so if you want to check that, all we have to do is say plt.scatter and pass my age column, my salary column, and I'm going to give the color orange. And I'm simply going to say plt.show. So as you can see over here, my age and salary are increasing together. Okay, so this is also known as a positive correlation. Alright, so when my age is around 20 to 25, my salary is somewhere around 25,000 to 30,000. But as my age increases, so when I reach the age of 40, my salary is somewhere around 55,000. Okay, so this is how you can analyze the relationship between two numerical columns. And the next way of visualizing two columns is again by using a line plot. So as we saw in our initial example, we had two features x and y. So right now we have two features called age and salary. So I'm going to go ahead and plot my line graph over here. So as you can see, my line graph is not very easy to visualize over here. You can see the lines are very random. So instead of line style as dotted, I'm going to have my simple and plain line style. So as you can see, it's going back and forth a lot. So why is this happening? Because my age column is not sorted over here. So I have random age values and random salary values. So in order to have a better visualization, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort my age feature. I'm going to create a variable called sort age, and I'm going to simply sort my values of age. Okay, and over here, instead of passing my age directly, I'm going to pass my sorted age. So as you can see over here, now my line chart is giving me a better visualization of the relationship between the age column and the salary column. Okay, so this is how you can plot a line chart between two numerical columns. Then the next visualization graph that we have is a bar chart. So in order to plot a bar chart, all you have to do is say plt.bar, pass your age. I'm going to pass my sorted age features and my salary column, and I'm going to say I want my color to be green for all the bars. And as you can see over here, it is giving you the visual representation in forms of bars. Okay, so at the age of 22, I have my salary in this range. At the age of 25, I have the salary at this range. So I can also go ahead and create bins. So I want only 10 bars to classify my age. So I can also go ahead and align my bars, and I can say I want my bars to be in center. So if I run it, so they were initially like this. Now if I say I want them to be left, so align supports center or edge parameters. Okay, so this is how you visualize two numerical columns, but what if you had a numerical and a categorical column to visualize? So let me go ahead and show you guys bivariate analysis but with a numerical and a categorical. So I'm going to consider my salary feature and my department feature, and now I want to see the visualization of how my salary is distributed according to my department. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my feature called HR salaries, and here I'm going to fetch all my salaries that have the department of HR. So basically my HR salary variable is going to contain the salaries of only the HR department. So basically, these are the people working in the HR department and these are their salaries. Okay. Similarly, I'm going to do that for the other two departments as well. So I'm going to create IT salary, and similarly, I'm going to create finance salary. Okay. So once I have my salaries for all the three departments separately, I can go ahead and plot them in a box plot. So I'm going to go ahead and create a box plot. So in order to do that, all I have to do is say plt.boxplot and pass all the three salaries that I have together. And you can see the distribution like this. Okay, so I have one salary that is an outlier, that is 55,000, which is okay. So I need to also go ahead and label them. So I'm going to say label, and I'm also going to show the legend for my plots. So if I plot this, you can see I have three box plots, and over here you can see I have an outlier value for my first box plot, but in this particular figure I'm unable to understand which box plot is referring to which department. So in order to clarify that, I can go ahead and say I want my labels to be HR, IT, and finance. So if I run it now, you can see my first box plot represents the HR department, and I have an outlier value in the HR department. Okay, so this is how you can analyze a numerical column with a categorical column using box plots. Okay, you can also check their median values. So the median HR salary is in the range of 25,000 to 30,000, whereas IT median salary is 35,000, and finance has the highest median salary, that is 40,000. So this is how it gets much easier to visualize data using plots in Matplotlib, right? If you were to find out such insights just looking at the data, it would take you much longer, right? But using graphs like this, I can easily figure out which department has uh, a higher median salary, or the maximum salary, or the outlier lies in which department, right? So boxplot was one way. Another way where you can visualize your numerical and categorical column together is pie chart. So in order to plot my pie chart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort, or I'm going to group my salary by department, and I'm going to say df dot group by department, and I want my salary to be grouped, and I'm going to use the sum instead of mean. So this is what it looks like. So I have a total of this number for my finance department. So basically all the people in finance together are earning this much salary, whereas all the people in HR are earning this amount, and in IT they're earning this amount. Okay, so now I can go ahead and plot it in a pie chart. I can say plt.pie, and I can give my salary by department variable, and I can call my labels as the index, and I'm going to label them using auto PCT. And once I print my pie chart, so in my pie chart I can easily see the distribution of salary in percentage for the three different departments. Okay, so this is another way of visualizing. So in my box plot, I could easily figure out the minimum salary, the maximum salary, and the median salaries for all the departments. And over here, I can see the distribution or the percentage for each department, that is the total amount being earned by each department. Okay, so another way when you can visualize your numerical and categorical column is by using a bar plot. So I want to show the mean salaries of all the departments in my bars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say HR mean, and I'm simply going to say sum of HR salary and I'm going to divide it by the length of HR. And similarly, I'm going to do it for IT and finance as well. So once I run it, I can simply go ahead and plot my bar chart over here. I'm going to say plt.bar, and I'm going to pass my HR, IT, and finance as labels, and I'm going to pass these as variables as well, and I'm going to say I want my bars to be of color green, black, and red. And once I print my chart, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so in my bar chart over here, I can easily see the mean or the average salary for the three departments in a very clean and neat manner, right? So my HR mean salary is somewhere around 35,000, whereas IT is a little more, and finance is almost crossing 40,000. Let me just use my grids over here. So you can see now you get a better visualization of the mean or the average salary for the three departments. Okay, so this is going to further help you in analysis where you are building large predictive models. Right now I just have three columns and the values are really small, so I could even look at the data. But when you have a larger number of columns and larger values, visualizing your data becomes a much more easier, or you can say efficient way to understand what the data is trying to tell you, right? So with this we finish our bivariate analysis. Next comes our multivariate analysis. So basically, this is where we're trying to understand how the three columns affect each other and how they change with each other, right? So first, we're going to look at three numerical columns. That is numerical, numerical, numerical. So I'm just going to write three numerical columns. So in order to have three numerical columns right now, I just have two in my data set. Let me just check. Yeah, so I have two numerical columns, that is salary and age. I need to add another numerical column in my data frame. So let me just say DF and let me add experience. Okay, so you can see I have added another numerical column, that is experience. So basically, this column is telling us how many years of experience the person has. So over here, there's 1 year of experience. Here, over here, the person has 2 years of experience, and so on. Okay. Also, another thing that I missed over here is a few parameters in pie chart. So over here, there's something known as shadow. So if you want to give these effects to your pie chart, you can simply say shadow equal to true, and over here you can see a shadow like structure has been created below your pie chart. Okay, so it kind of gives your image a 3D effect, right? And you can also go ahead and say explode and pass a list of the distance that you want your each sectors to be away from the radius. So I'm going to say 0.1, 0 and 0.1. So basically this makes your pie chart look a little more interactive and different from the normal images that are out there. So you can go ahead and customize it. Okay. Alright, so moving on with our multivariate analysis. So I have three numerical columns as you can see over here. So now in order to analyze these three columns together, I'm going to use something known as a bubble plot. Okay. So a bubble plot is nothing but a scatter plot where your third numerical column, so in this case we're going to use experience as our third numerical column, and this experience column is just going to define the bubble size. Okay, so with that you get an idea of how much experience the person has. So basically the larger your bubble, the more the experience the person has. Okay, so let me go ahead and quickly create this plot for you guys. So I'm going to say plt.scatter. So basically I've passed my age column, my salary column and my experience column as the size of my bubble. And I'm saying I want orange bubbles. And if I print this, okay, so as you can see, the size of my bubble by default is very small. So basically the smallest bubble is representing 1 year of experience and the largest bubble is probably representing 5 years of experience. But in order to have a better visualization, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by 20. Okay, so now you can see the bubble size has increased and now it's much more easier to visualize this particular graph than earlier. I can also go ahead and increase the number of multiplication. Okay, and I'm going to give the color blue because that would give a better bubble effect. So this is what my bubble plot is going to look like when I have three numerical columns. Okay, so you can go ahead and easily visualize that person of age 27 is earning around 35,000 and again the experience is also good, right? So I'm simply going to give the color as sky blue and I can also go ahead and customize it as edge color. So I'm going to give my edge color as black so that I have a better understanding of my bubbles on it. So see, this is what my bubble plot is going to look like. Again, I can give a title to my plot. I can say plt.title, age versus salary versus experience. And my X label is going to be age, my Y label is going to be salary, and I do not need a grid. So now you can see my plot looks much neater and easier to read, right? So this was when we had three numerical columns. But what if we had two numerical and one categorical column? So in this case, we are going to again use a scatter plot. So the two numerical columns are going to be our age and salary. And our categorical column is going to be the department column. Now, in order to plot this on a scatter plot, instead of using a bubble plot, we're going to use a scatter plot again. But for the different departments in our department column, we are going to use different colors. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say plt.scatter and I'm going to pass my age column, my salary column, and I'm going to say I want my colors to be of the different departments, that is DF department. And I'm going to say I want the colors of a rainbow. So I want different colors in a rainbow. Okay. Or if I didn't want rainbow, I'm going to show you guys how I can customize the colors in my own way. So I'm going to say X label, and my X is going to be age, then Y label, plt.x label, and plt.y label. My Y label is going to be salary, and I'm going to give a title to my plot, and I'm also going to print my legend. Okay, so I cannot use a rainbow color. Rather, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say df.map, and I'm going to map the different departments. So if I have an HR department, I'm going to map it with, say, color yellow. And similarly, I'm going to map my other two departments as well. So I'm going to say IT, I want to be mapped to color blue. And finally, I have finance, say orange. Print it now. So as you can see over here, I've tried to print my legend, but I am not really getting an output. So I can resolve this by simply saying labels equal to df department. So as you can see over here, I have tried to print my legend using plt.legend, but I am not really getting any output for that particular line. So the reason being, I have explicitly defined what colors each of my departments are going to get, and Matplotlib is unable to read that. So I have to explicitly define the labels using label, and I'm going to say HR, IT, and finance. So if I print it now, so as you can see over here, even though we've passed the plt.legend parameter, our legend is not getting printed. So the reason is because we have explicitly defined the colors over here, and even if we try to get the label parameter as df department, so you can see it is not going to work for us. So we cannot use this particular strategy. Rather, we have to follow a different kind of format over here where we explicitly define our color using a variable. So I'm going to say my HR is going to be linked with yellow, IT is going to be with blue, finance is going to be with orange. Okay, now I'm going to iterate through each of my color and my department. So I'm going to say for DPT and color in color.items, and basically I'm going to classify each of the departments separately, and then I'm going to print my scatter plot of age and salary. I'm going to say my color is going to be the specific color for each department, and I'm going to label my department. And if I run this and I go ahead and print my legend, so now you can see I've got my legend successfully, because now Matplotlib knows which department is representing which color. Alright, so that is why it is able to generate a legend successfully. Earlier in this case, Matplotlib had no idea about it. So this is how you can create a legend when you're plotting two numerical and one categorical column in a scatter plot. Alright, so that was all about our PyPlot API plotting for a single numerical column, a single categorical column, then two numerical columns versus a numerical and a categorical column. Then we went ahead and saw multivariate plotting, and we did all that using the PyPlot API. That is, we directly went ahead and used terms like plt.bar, plt.boxplot, and so on. Now we're going to dive into object-oriented API. That is, we're going to create objects before we start plotting. Okay, so let me just comment it over here. So object-oriented API basically allows subplots or multiple axes or multiple plots in a particular figure. Okay, so till now we saw one particular plot in one figure, but now what we can do is we can have multiple plots and subplots in a single figure. Okay, so let's quickly see how. So first I'm going to create two objects called figure and axis, and I'm going to say plt.subplots, and I'm going to pass 1 comma 3, and I'm going to say my figure size is going to be 10 comma 5. Okay, So this is basically the x and y ratio. So in terms of x, I'm going to have the figure horizontally expanded and vertically just 5. Okay. So basically what I'm telling my subplot parameter is that I want one figure, and in that one figure I want 3 subplots. Okay. So now let's go ahead and create our first plot. So I want my first plot to be a line plot. Okay. So as you can see over here, this is one complete figure and I have 3 subplots. Right now, all these 3 plots are empty. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and create my line plot first. So in order to do that, I'm going to use my sort age variable. Let me see if I still have it. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to use my sort age variable. So I'm going to say at my axis 0, that is my 0th x axis, I want to plot a line plot, and it is going to be sort age, pass my age and salary, and I want my color to be red, my marker to be a star, and my line width to be 2. Okay, I can also go ahead and define my marker size. So I'm going to say marker size equal to 2. So I can go ahead and set the grid. I can also set my title for this particular plot. I'm going to say it's a line plot, and I can also go ahead and set my x label and my y label for this. So I'm going to say dot set x label, and I'm going to call it age, and y label is going to be my salary, and then I'm just going to run it. Okay. So since I've not called my plot till now, it's not being generated. Now I'm going to go ahead and plot my histogram. Ideally, all this should be run in a single cell. So I'm just going to paste it in my cell over here. And then I'm going to plot my histogram. And over here, my axis is going to be 1, so that Matplotlib understands that this was my first plot. And I'm going to use axis 1 over here throughout histogram, so that Matplotlib understands that this is the second figure, while the earlier where I use 0 for axis is going to be my first figure. Alright, so basically I'm referencing to my first figure and my second figure over here. So I've created a histogram for my salary, and I'm going to give the color sky blue. And I'm going to set my title for histogram, and I'm going to set my label salary, and y label is going to be frequency. Then my third plot is going to be a box plot, where I'm going to say axis 2, that means my third figure, and I'm going to plot my salary over here. I'm going to set my title as box plot, and I'm setting my x label as salary again. And if I run plt.show, that is I print all my plots, this is what it's going to look like. So as you can see over here, my plot is sort of coinciding with my second plot. So I can go ahead and increase my x-axis direction. So I can say 15,5. Now you can see it's fitting perfectly. Okay, so you can go ahead and adjust the dimensions for your plots, that is your figure size. Okay. So this is how you plot multiple plots together, okay, in using object-oriented API. Cool. Now, if I want to save this particular figure in my local environment, maybe I want to use it for some sort of presentation or any sort of document that I'm preparing, and I want to use this figure in that, how do I do that? Okay, so you can either just right click and go to copy image, but that's not the right way. So Matplotlib offers an inbuilt feature where you can save your image. So all you have to do is say plt.save fig and give a name to your image. So I'm just going to say multiple plots. And now you can use any particular extension. So I'm going to use PNG. You can use the JPG format, or you can use the PDF format. Okay, any format that you want to download your image in, you can just use that particular extension in the end using the dot. So whichever image I need to save, I just need to run this particular line before the plt.show. And if I run this, so let me see if my image has been saved. So as you can see over here, multiple plots.png has been saved in my drives. So since I'm using Google Colab, it is unable to access my local environment, and hence my image is saved only in my drive, that is my disk space over here. If you're using VS Code or any other notebook like Jupyter Notebook, you can specify the path that you want your image to be saved in. Okay, so you can directly go and say, I want it to be stored in my C drive, Okay, so you can use a path like this so that your image is stored in that particular folder. And I can also go ahead and download it from here. So this is how you save an image. I can also save it in, okay, let me just go ahead and, so if I click on this is what my image is going to look like. Okay. Now, before we wrap up with our 3D plots, I want to show you guys another interesting scenario where we have a data somewhat like this. Okay, so basically I have multiple numerical columns. Now, if I want to visualize all these particular metrics over here, like the sales and profit and expenses all together in one chart with reference to the year column, this is how I can do it. So first I'm going to convert it into a data frame. I'm going to call it df2. This also ideally should be data 2 because I already have data variable initially. Okay. So in order to do multiple plots, all I have to do is say plt.plot and pass my year as my x variable. So this is going to be fixed throughout. All my x variables are going to have the column year because I want all these particular metrics to be represented with reference to year, but in a single plot. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do it. So I do year and let me plot sales, and I'm going to label it as sales. So similarly, I'm going to do it for profit and expenses column as well. Okay, and I'm going to label it as profit and expenses. So if I give my plot a title, financial analysis, and I'm going to label my X label as year and Y label as the amount. So now my Y label, that is the amount, is going to vary according to sales, profit and expenses. Okay. So if I run this, okay, so as you can see over here, I have my profit, my expenses and my sales. Now how do I know which line is representing what? I can see it through the legend over here. And my x-axis is representing the year and my y-axis is representing the amount. Okay, so basically we had lesser profit and our expenses were greater than our profit throughout the years. So basically the company is in financial loss. So that is something that we can easily predict through this particular graph. Although our sales were pretty high, we are not generating the required profit, right? So this is how you can analyze financial data in just a few lines of code. All right. So now coming to the last topic for this particular video, that is a 3D plot. So let's plot a 3D plot for this particular data frame that we have. Okay, so in order to do a 3D plot, all you have to do is create a variable. So I'm going to call it AX and I'm going to say plt dot figure and I'm going to say projection equal to 3D. Okay, and now I'm going to create my scatter plot and I'm going to pass my variables. So I'm going to pass my age, salary and experience column and I'm simply going to say df plt dot show. Okay, sorry, it's not going to be plt dot figure, it's going to be plt dot axis and my d is going to be small. Okay, so as you can see over here, I've got a 3D plot. So in order to clarify what each of these axes is representing, I'm going to label these axes. And in a 3D plot, I'm going to use set X label, set Y label, and set Z label. Alright. So once I run it, so as you can see over here, this particular axis represents age, this represents salary, and this one over here is supposed to represent experience, but I'm not really getting the label over here. So this code is going to perform better if it was run on a Visual Code or Jupyter Notebook. Okay, Google Colab does not really support a lot of 3D animations. So if you were to run this particular code in VS Code, you would be able to rotate your graph on different axes and be able to visualize the data better. So if you want to achieve the same functionality in Google Colab, all you have to do is import plotly.express as px, and if you run it, so it's run successfully. And then you can simply go ahead and create your figure, which is going to be your scatter plot 3D. So it directly comes with a 3D scatter plot and you can pass your data frame and your variables are going to be age, salary and experience. So what I've done over here is I've created a figure variable and I've used px.scatter3d. So it's directly going to plot a 3D scatter plot and I've passed my data frame, my age, salary and experience variables and I've titled it as 3D scatter plot. Okay. Now all I have to do is say fig.show, and if I run it, so as you can see over here, now I am able to rotate my graph. I can visualize the data on a 3D level. Okay, so this is how you can do it using Plotly library. Okay. Matplotlib also offers this particular option, this particular functionality, but just not in Google Colab. Okay, you can do it on Visual Code or Jupyter Notebook. So this was it for this video. I hope you guys were able to understand Matplotlib, the functionalities, and most importantly, which plot is supposed to be used for what kind of data set. So we've discussed univariate, bivariate, and multivariate analysis along with PyPlot API and object-oriented API. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. Thank you and see you in the next one.